It's that time of the year again. Let's take a look at the worst games of 2023.
We stand reunited!
Starting with number 10, Modern Warfare 3. Yes, I know some people love this game and that's great for them. I, however, mostly play COD for campaigns now and occasionally dip my toes into zombies if I'm really bored or have no other single player games on my backlog. But this year's Call of Duty campaign was truly a new low for the franchise. Now, I normally love Call of Duty campaigns. They are unapologetically over the top and campy and ridiculous, and I love them. But Modern Warfare 3, holy crap, what the hell happened? Well, I'll tell you, this isn't a Modern Warfare 3 campaign. It's DLC for Modern Warfare 2, with a good chunk of the missions being in Warzone maps and finding loadout boxes. Nobody wants Warzone shit in Call of Duty campaigns, thank you very much. And it's only around 4 hours long. I mean, at least previous Call of Duties pushed the 7-hour mark, maybe a bit more on veteran or realistic, but this is just sad.
People are what matter to me.
Next we got number 9, Quantum Error, a game I so desperately wanted to like as the quality looked damn good for a game made by only 4 people. It's a light firefighter simulator that's disguised as a survival horror game and is a failure on nearly every level. You lack basic functionality and UI elements, decently designed encounters, a coherent story, or even some scares. Something has gone horribly wrong. I honestly think this small team just bit off way more than they could chew, and with a sequel already announced and underway, I hope they take the criticisms to heart and maybe scale it back and laser focus on the few things that work in this game. That, or they need to, get a much bigger team to match their high ambitions.
Vampires, cultists, psychic phenomena. Never seen anything like it.
Number 8, Redfall. Arcane is known for some amazing first-person simulation games like Dishonored, so delving into a co-op shooter designed as a live service game, a genre that developer Arcane Studios didn't have much experience with, was a bad idea. Instead, what we received was a half-baked looter shooter plagued with technical problems, repetitive missions, subpar visuals, an incredibly boring plot, and a lifeless world. I guess the vampires sucked the life right out of this game, because there's just no saving it at this point, despite what Arcane and Microsoft try to tell you.
Shiny, yes, so beautiful.
Now, this is a game that got memed to high heaven, but next up is number 7, Lord of the Rings Gollum. I'm a sucker for anything Lord of the Rings, so no matter how low quality the game looked, I knew I had to check it out. Maybe it's better if I didn't. I should have known I was in trouble when I saw the $60 price tag, but I got it anyways. The visuals are... well, the game has visuals, I guess, and the gameplay is fairly basic, with Gollum performing basic tasks on top of poorly implemented stealth and platforming mechanics. In addition to the poor reception, details eventually surface regarding the toxic work environment, unpaid overtime for its employees, and mismanagement by leadership, eventually leading to the studio shutting down entirely. Sadly, this is hands down, without a doubt, the worst Lord of the Rings game I have ever played.
There are stories of kings.
Number 6, Skull Island: Rise of Kong. Now, I feel bad putting some games on this list because it just seems too easy. I guarantee this game is on every single worst games of the year list, bar none. For many, the game even challenged Gollum for worst game of 2023, something many likely didn't expect after how poorly that game was received. This looks like it's purposely bad. I'm starting to wonder if game studios are making cheap, bad games with the idea that people will buy them for the memes. I mean, word of mouth goes a long way to make people check out bad games. This is like Wii shovelware bad, only it's 2023 and we're on current gen systems. I cannot tell you how bad this game is. You just have to play it for yourself, and I wouldn't recommend that because it's an absolute and utter failure in every way possible.
You weren't cut out for this world, Rick. I'm the only one who can keep Lori and Carl safe.
Next up is a personal one for me, as I've been a fan since its comic book inception. Number 5, The Walking Dead Destinies. Say what you will about the TV show falling off after a certain season, or the oversaturation of spin-offs. I love Dead City and Daryl Dixon, by the way. But to me, this game's premise had so much potential. Destiny certainly had an intriguing premise, with its promise of letting players change the TV show's events through their own actions, like letting Shane kill Rick and becoming the leader of the group after Season 2, and so on. But not only does that come to nothing, the rest of the game is also embarrassingly low quality across the board. Its visuals would have looked outdated 2 decades ago, and its cutscenes are just moving pictures, and not even very good looking ones either. Its stealth and combat mechanics, when they actually work, are mind-numbingly shallow, and its attempts to be clever with its storytelling what-ifs just fall flat.
This here is Michael Madsen, but you're gonna know me better as the Candyman, Travis Baker.
Hey, boss.
Number 4, Crime Boss Rockay City. A game where 90% of the budget went for the star-studded cast and 10% for the actual game. Who thought this was a good idea? Now, the writing is at least workable. The bigger issue is there is literally zero voice direction. You can hear tonal shifts all over the place, sometimes mid-sentence, making it obvious some lines were just chopped together in editing. The gameplay is the same vein as Payday. You build a team of up to 4 crooks, each with their own strengths and weaknesses, and set out to loot a location before the cops, come and squash the mission. Relying on pure stealth doesn't work either, due to the game's atrocious AI, so just go in guns blazing and get it over with as soon as possible. The single-player campaign, if one could even call it that, is a rogue-like dubbed Baker's Battle, which requires you to take over all territories in Rockay City. This game looks like it was made for the sole purpose of laundering money.
To finish the war once and for all.
Number 3, Avatar: The Last Airbender Quest for Balance. Sometimes being a Last Airbender fan can be painful. Unfortunately, this is one of those times. Let's just get story presentation out of the way first. The story is inaccurate and skips over the bigger moments with just text on the screen explaining things that happen. Plus, there's even a Temple Run part of this game where you literally play Temple Run with Aang on a penguin to go back to the Water Tribe village so you can read about how Aang turned himself into the Fire Navy ship on screen after. The camera is pretty bad, and you can't even tell a lot of the times why you keep missing a jump or why you can't hit a target because the perspective is off. The fighting is terrible, the targeting doesn't work properly, especially when there's multiple enemies, and boss fights with Zuko are pathetic. He stands there and an arrow on the ground points from him to you, and you wait for him to attack you just to move out of the way of the arrow. I just gotta stop talking about this game before I lose it, man. Moving on to the recent abysmal game release of 2023, number 2, The Day Before. Let's get this over with. First off, the devs lied about what the game is. It's neither open world nor an MMO, it's an extraction shooter, and there's no survival elements. Very little gameplay aside from running around a bare-bones, quote-unquote, city, of which you can't even enter 99% of all the buildings, which again, the Steam store page kind of seems to act like you totally can. And fighting the occasional 1 or 2 zombies, not like a horde or anything. If this game was early access, I could be more forgiving, but the developers are charging $40 for this game, which is absolutely ridiculous.
If you're going to show, now would be a good time.
And my number 1 worst game of 2023 is Overwatch 2. Now, while the game came out in 2022, it wasn't until they dropped the bomb in 2023 of what this game actually will be. I honestly cannot believe this game exists, because it fucking doesn't. They literally just re-released Overwatch 1 and canceled the one thing people actually bought the game for, a new story campaign with missions and character upgrades and a lot of cool gameplay additions. This should honestly be everyone's number 1 worst game of 2023. We paid to basically decrease the team size from 6 to 5 and, decrease the amount of tanks by 1. I don't know how Blizzard just keeps getting away with this stuff. And those are my worst games of 2023. But what were some of your most hated worst games of this year? Let me know in the comments below, and if you want to check out my most disappointing games of 2023, check out this video here. Thanks for watching.